Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the macro. I hope everyone is enjoying their weekend out there and, of course, preparing for the new week ahead. In this video, I want to talk about why wanting excellence is a much better choice than wanting pleasure in your life. Wanting excellence instead of chasing and wanting pleasure. Now, what I found is when I've chased pleasure in my life, it typically leads me to feel very unfulfilled, very empty. And it creates sort of this distortion in your life. And I would even argue it sets you back a great deal. Like I remember when I wanted pleasure from gambling. And in my mind at the time, I thought that I was so smart and that I could, do so great in picking out the best scratch tickets and having the best look at casinos. And there were times where I did well. But unfortunately, because of greed, right, which is a natural human thing to feel, I thought that I could go back into the casino and double my money, triple my money. And I was seeking pleasure from it. I wanted pleasure. It seems like constantly going after pleasure leads to painful experiences. Sometimes people struggle with this very thing when it comes to food. They want all of this food, all different types of food, especially the food that's not good for you, right? The stuff that tastes really, really good. But it leads to you just feeling bloated and full, and you don't feel good. I remember it was the same thing when I drank alcohol. And I'm not knocking anybody that drinks alcohol, but I did it in a way where I was seeking the pleasure from it. I wanted it to have an effect on me. But the reality is I didn't make good decisions when I drank. I didn't really like the person that I was. I made poor choices. I wasted a lot of time. And in those moments, I at least I believed I was having a good time. But again, alcohol messes with your mind and also I believe with your spirit as well. But those things, sometimes I wonder if they were even real to begin with. But I wanted the pleasure from it. I wanted to feel good. You know what I mean? I just wanted to feel good, but it wasn't in a very authentic and natural way. I just feel like in my life, seeking and wanting pleasure doesn't lead to good things. I'm just trying to think of some other things here. Even, it's easy to seek after things, especially on the internet, that make you feel that way. We're not going to get into all the details of that, but even something as simple as going through, just scrolling through YouTube shorts and getting that hit of dopamine on something, just short after short after short after short. Constant dopamine just hitting your brain. Wanting to be entertained. And you know what? That actually rings a bell in my head. I remember I had probably started building this sometime probably back in 2012, but I was building this essentially collection of DVDs and like Blu-ray, and I had this massive set of movies probably by the year, 2016. All of these movies. And I watched each of those movies, multiple times. And I probably had, close to maybe, I would say like 125 movies. And this was all different genres and stuff, all different types of stuff, including, anime stuff. But I think about all that time I spent seeking the pleasure, wanting the pleasure from watching a movie, and sometimes I'd even drink and watch the movie and stuff, and I'm watching the same movie over and over and over. And I think back, I'm like, man, I should have spent some of that time wanting excellence, wanting to learn, wanting to educate myself, wanting to grow. But instead I chose the easy path, which is wanting the pleasure from it. I even did it with stuff like Netflix too. Binge watching on different television series. And I'm sure some of you guys can relate to what I'm saying. I mean, think about how many streaming services there are. Do we need all these streaming services? There's so many of them, and I bet there's people out there that have all of them. You really need Hulu, Netflix, Amazon TV, or whatever it's called. I know that there's others. Crunchyroll, I think, is for anime. Like you don't really need all those. Yeah, probably even the YouTube Premium that they have now. I don't know, but you know what? When you want excellence, there's a wonderful thing that begins to occur as you start to chase after that excellence, desiring it. You actually get the pleasure from going after excellence, if that makes any sense. It's even, something as simple as I mentioned in my last video about taking your crappy work lunch break. And I'm kind of joking when I say that, but not joking. But seriously, using that measly 30 minutes, or maybe it's an hour. I think an hour is pretty generous. I think 30 minutes is a little short-lived. But taking that time to like really learn and grow and develop in something, study something, but not just that, being able to execute on the stuff that you're learning, right? Even if it's something you have to wait on, you've studied it, you have the head knowledge, you've taken the notes. And like I said, I do it in a very extreme way, but that's what I consistently do in my life, and I want to continue doing, is wanting excellence. Because I know in the back of my mind that the decisions that I make every day not only affect me, but affect my family as well. And for the dads out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or for the moms as well. Like, I choose to wake up earlier than I need to. And again, I'm not bragging about anything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just telling you my perspective on this and how I think that everyone could benefit a little bit more if we stopped wanting so much pleasure in our lives and instead we went after and we wanted excellence instead. But I wake up earlier than I need to because there's a period of time in the morning where I do that as well. I whip on my phone, I put in my headphones, I'm having my coffee, I'm having something to eat. And I'm learning. I'm starting my day off in a very productive manner. I'm getting that flow going. You know what I mean? And again, it comes down to figuring out where you can put these things in your schedule, and everyone's schedule is going to look different. You have to figure that out for yourself and figure out what's going to work for you. If you're someone who's strapped for a lot of time because you have other responsibilities, but then you're just going to have to find a way to make it work. Because if you don't, it'll just never happen. It won't. You have to get to a place where you want something different so much that you're willing to do whatever it takes, as long as you're not hurting anybody, right? To get there. And wanting excellence is a great start. But that's what I do. I limit the amount of time that I want to be pleased by things. My desire for entertainment and pleasure, okay, in that way, I try to limit it. I try and limit my time with those things. Because I've seen the difference in my life once I started chasing excellence instead. And I believe that same thing can happen for you as well. And that's all I'm saying here. You got to stop always wanting to be pleased by things. Think about this too. Most people in the world, maybe not most people, but a lot of people in our world hold one of the most powerful man-made devices in their pocket or in their purse. And yet we use a lot of that power to be entertained constantly, all the time, with nonsense. There's a lot of nonsense on the internet, on social media, and you know what I'm talking about. Just a lot of garbage that provides you no benefit at all. And I'm not saying not to take the time. I understand it. We need some downtime. There's some things that we should engage in that like make us happy, and I get that. Like one of the things I like to do watch every once in a while just because I think it's it's fun for me. But I find watching home tours of like million dollar homes exciting because they got like the music in the background. And it's a little bit of house, like, and a little bit of techno, and it's clean. You know what I mean? And it's like this 16-20 minute video where they give you like a full tour of the home. That's something that I like. That's just an example. But you have to understand, if you're working yourself in such a fashion, if you're conducting yourself in such a way where the majority of your time, maybe outside of work or outside of your responsibilities, is wanting pleasure, it's going to set you back so much. It will set you back years. Because that's happened to me. But anywho, I hope this resonated with someone out there. I hope this message was able to bless someone out there. And leave me some comments below what you're thinking about it. All right. We'll speak again soon. Take care.